Good evening, and welcome to another week of Moments with Vivacious. We're the new American Revolution. We've been that for 10 years. But right now, I believe that the atmosphere is set for us to become totally revolutionary. And we're going to talk about what I mean by that, what we're going to do. We can't. Regular politics is not working. It's just not working. Okay, so we're going to take a break while we're going to have the intro play while everybody call somebody and say, get on this line. We have to save America for the future of our children. And we're going to talk about even the people who don't want to do it, but we've got to for us. See you in a moment. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for Progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Hello and good evening. I had quite a good weekend. As a matter of fact, I did nothing except Saturday was so beautiful. I sat outside and had some refreshments and watched the wind blow the bare trees, knowing in a few months they'll be full of leaves. And life is a circle just like that. It has its seasons. I was speaking to a young lady at work, and I believe that God allowed me to be in that position, in that position because it was in medical records, and I had no clue. I thought of a system for the things that they had me to do, and I did what they had me to do, but the big part was that this young lady was from Poland. And I started talking to her, and she started telling me, oh, how Poland was so wonderful, how everybody grow everything. They have gardens and they grow vegetables and they have fruit areas. And all the neighbors, whatever the other one don't have, they just swap. So the cost of living is very low because it's not, they don't have any food. They don't have to buy food. They have all of their home grown food. And she told me a lot about Poland because I asked. And when I asked her, I said, and how is the government in Poland? Because I think I remember, I didn't go back and study it, I should have. But at one time, part of Poland is communist. So she was telling me how the North and the South is separated, and she was from the North, off of the sea, and it just sounded like I wanted to go there. But the point of the matter is, when we were talking about government, she said, people start off doing really good after they fight for what they get, and then they start getting lackadaisical and not doing things well, and it comes all the way back to the struggle again. And I can see some of that in my country. I love going home. I love to see my family, my parents, my siblings, but I miss home sometimes, and it's good to have some place to go back to. And I started thinking Poland is old. They have churches from the ninth, from 13 something. It's old buildings, old country, and they didn't renew it all. It's beautiful. They didn't tear down and rebuild like sometimes we tear down and rebuild. So we don't know where we came from. What was there first? Is one area old? It's over in Decatur. It just was so quaint to me. I used to go to that antique shop all the time. I guess I can ride through there and find out to see if they still had that antique shop. It was just beautiful. And they tore it all down and build new buildings like there was nothing never before, like our existence is just beginning. And I think what happened here in America right now, people became complacent. What do I mean when I say complacent? Oh, we talk about, I'm going to say this little piece. We talk about the civil rights movement and integration, and we were then blacks, I mean people of color, but blacks in America. We were able to live in neighborhoods we never had to live in. Even if they was burning us down and beating us up, we still wanted to be in their neighborhood and have what they had. And I remember I had a boyfriend one time, and he said, I'm gonna have everything they have. He built a house almost a block long, for real. And because he felt like he had the right to have what they have. And I think when we got into having what they have, we forgot all about who we are. So let's not try to make tonight's whole discussion about racism, but you cannot discuss America and its history without discussing racism, because racism, in my mind, is a lot of the foundation of what goes wrong for us. And I'm going all the way back to the American Revolution, just a second. We were fighting somebody else. Remember the Boston Tea Party? We didn't want to pay the taxes. So Boston wanted us to pay taxes. We didn't want to pay the taxes. So we had a war. But the war, in all actuality, for us to come invade these people's land, put them out, push them to the side, take some of the people of color and make like they were African when you brought the slaves over, and nothing really belonged to anybody who took the power. So the very foundation of America is almost what we see going on in these wars and the way we treat each other, even right now. So we're standing here and we're looking around at all the things that these people are doing to destroy anything that looked like a future to anybody else, because they're trying to take it back to the place where they first took over a land that wasn't theirs in the first place. And what are we trying to do now? Not we, all of us. Even though when we wrote the Constitution, the first part of the Constitution is the preamble, we the people. So whenever we talk about America, we the people of the United States comes to my heart, but I see none of that. That's number one. We went through the American Revolution. We broke off from Europe, and we destroyed the colonies and built a fake land, brought other people over to build that land. So the slaves came over. The black Indians that was here, they made like they was slaves that came from Africa. And they made this land the richest land in the world. They mastered how to build this nation. Tobacco, cotton, building bricks, building buildings. So they mastered it and they built the building. But even after slavery ended, people of color were still slaves. And they were enslaved by some people of color. And then to make a little step further, we're going to go to the Civil War. It was to set slaves free and build a nation and give the slaves rights. And I'm bringing this up because it's going to be very important to a big point I make to where I think we should be at this time in our lives. So we had to make a movement because we had schools, we had teachers that were well educated in our community. They cared about our community. Our community as Black folk, everything. We could not mix with other people. We had to have our own world, create our own world. So we had our own grocery stores. Everything we needed, we produced. Nurses and teachers and postmen and businessmen, they were the upper middle class who owned homes, educated people, who educated their children. And we flourished. And our parents wanted more for us than they had for themselves. So they educated us and we knocked down the wall so that we could enter their world. At the time when I was coming up, we had the hood. And the hood was where we took care of each other. Our money went from house to house, basically. Turned over in our community. All the mechanics for cars was the man down the street who learned how to work a car, who learned how to build a car and repair a car. And some of them was just almost that, built and repair cars. And we did everything in our community. But then again, I'm going back to our parents educated us. And we didn't want to be no ditch diggers. Boys would say, I don't want to work hard for money. So my generation, we became lawyers. Nothing is wrong with that. We became lawyers and doctors, and we began to get degree after degree after degree, and we built ourselves, but we wanted all of that. And we didn't want to live in the hood anymore. We didn't want to look like that. We wanted big homes like they had over there. So we moved out of the hood. Our businesses became Those neighborhoods that have businesses now is big businesses. The ladies in the neighborhood didn't give suppers anymore. We had McDonald's and churches, and I remember when churches came into our neighborhood. We had all of those places. We weren't buying suppers. They didn't give suppers anymore. We didn't own cleaners anymore. I remember the 1 hour Martinizing. They just lit up the whole city. And so we didn't have cleaners anymore. My family that had a grocery store, Asian people took over that grocery store. And all of our business and all of our money began to go to somebody else. So we bought houses in other neighborhoods, and we spent all this money, and we left the people back in the neighborhood impoverished. And then the government came along and started paying them to sit at home almost. We depended on the government, so a whole lot of the government came in and took over our lives. Told us what we could do, what we can't do, not even telling us what you could eat and what you can't eat. And the class of the neighborhood, that I'm sorry if that word offended anybody, I'm not trying to offend anybody, it changed. Drugs came into the neighborhoods, and now we have the ghetto. And let me tell you, it's not only black, it's not only black. And we're here today where all the civil rights, all of that is, they're trying to break it up and bring it back to us not having anything anymore. That was just a little briefing because I'm where I really want to talk about now. We don't need to talk about what these people doing and how they're doing it because it's awful. We need to talk about how we're going to get ourselves out of this mess. We have all this money, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of scholarships my granddaughter have all by herself. My nephew have even promising money, entering college. Our children is doing the doggone thing. They're doing the doggone thing. And I know who God is. I'm watching God in some very hard times raise us to places that we never knew we would be. But the bottom line is, thank God he is who he is. And maybe some of this stuff that's going on, he's breaking it apart to fill us in. So where do we go from here? We have to come from being, look what they're doing to us, to, I almost say the word. I'm going to say it real fast. Hell no, we ain't doing that. How do we come out of this mess? How do we come out of this mess? Going back to the history I just reviewed, it was the founding fathers, because I don't want to say race, because people are going to say I'm racist. It was the founding fathers and all the people that came over with them on the Mayflower and ships such as that made the foundation of this nation sin. Somebody's, Dr. Hope said, thank you, Lord. The foundation of the, hi, Dr. Hope, how are you? I'm so glad to see you here. So we don't understand at this point, and as a Christian, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna move on. That as a nation, we must repent. As a people, meaning Black people and other immigrants, I think we have done exceedingly abundantly above anything anybody could ask or think. People talk about our addiction, but I think we did damn good because nobody in the beginning, when we got here, knew English or anything about these people. But look at us now. I'm so glad you're here too. Dr. Hope says she's happy to be here. So we had to come to a place where we knew nothing of. They took us, stripped us of our clothes, stripped us of our pride, stripped us of our self-respect, put us on ships naked because they knew we didn't like that. We were very prideful people, and brought us here, didn't teach us how to speak, didn't give us decent clothes, put us out in the field. But look at us now. Every time I go home, not every time, but most times when I go home, I go through Africa Town. Because a lot of the things people say that we are as a people comes from slavery. We was doing each other bad in the motherland. A lot of us came here because we were sold here. Come on, that's the truth. But when we face the truth, a lie can't live no more. So here we are today. How do we get this right? First of all, we can't hang on to politics. Dear Sanders, 3 top things taken: 1, land, language, and diet, per my African pastor. And let me tell you something, they have a lady, I want to investigate that. I keep passing it up. Thank you, dear, for that. And she said, see all this that's happening to your body? It is not because you're fat. It's because we've eaten all the wrong foods that made cortisol build up inside of us. But once you get on that, whatever this diet is that she has, all of that go away. So I'm gonna look it up one time and come on. But getting back, because I don't want to be too thrilled off. And dear Dr. Hope said, yes, dear. How do we get back to, are we going to just let ourselves go down? No. And I want you to know my man, Al Green, started the impeachment process today. I love that dude. I don't know if he's married, but if he's not and he's looking for a wife, somebody give him my number. But anyway, because he just so super bad. He don't care. And that's how we have to become as a whole people. When I saw South Korea, they tried to destroy their democracy. Those people went in the buildings, and they in the buildings with all the politicians. They broke the doors down. They said no way, and they put the president who was trying to become a dictator in jail. So Al Green got a good start. But I don't believe that what we need is going to come from politics. I believe that we as a people have to do in America what the South Koreans do. Now I'm going there, okay? We have to do what the South Koreans do. No way, we're not doing that. You're not doing that here. And I believe that we need to have a meeting like the Niagara Fall meeting, when representatives from all over, it was Black men, met at the Niagara Falls and developed a movement from which came the NAACP. I'm going to say it like this. Okay. The colonial people, they didn't do the right thing because it wasn't good for everybody. It was destructive to some people. And if we as a people weren't didn't have the tenacity plus all the other stuff that the education, the adaptability, if we didn't have all that we have, I don't know another people that would have survived that. So in spite of their evilness, we flourished. There's other immigrants here. Like I said, I was talking to the Polish lady, told me all about Poland. You know, we got it from all over the world here, but nobody survived what we've been through. Nobody have the strength, the intelligence. And I'm not saying our IQs are higher than everybody else. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is all the things that America has gone through, we as a people have survived. And we've brought survival to other people. And I think it's going to come from us, the survival of this nation. But I'm going to go back to the civil rights movement. Jazzy Bell, resilience. Yes, yes, Jazzy. I'm going to go back to the civil rights movement. That's where we at, right? Who was the real foundation of the civil rights movement? It was the Black women. It was Black women. We're intelligent. We're organizers. Jazzy Bell said Black women. Dr. Hope said getting involved in our community, we can create a better future for everyone. And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. We must have a movement that will gather all people that's moving toward all the things that we need to regain our freedom. We need someone to speak out every time that something happened, somebody spoke out. That we had a leader that spoke out. W.E.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King, and other men. Even for the Revolutionary War, Crispus Attucks. Okay? So, and I'm saying that, I'm saying, see something, say something. Absolutely, absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We need a great leader that ain't afraid to say what's going on. And we bring to politicians, we having a big election. And we bring to politicians, somebody asked me tonight in the organization I'm in, I don't think it's time for us to, I'm paraphrasing. I don't think it's time for us to put our support behind anyone. And I say, I think first we need to gather ourselves, what we need, and bring it to the people who's running for office. We need to be out of this mess. We need to be out of this war. We don't need our children. That man had the nerve to say he was going back to Carolina to ask his people to put their children up to fight in the war. You must be out of your mind. She says, see something, say something. And I'm saying it. No way we're going to do that. But we have to do something fast before bombs be falling on our head. Over in Israel and Iran, they have oil, they say, falling from the ground like black rain. Because they're bombing up everything. We think that. We think that's not. So we have to start a movement that can flow through the nation, that will galvanize people, that will bring what we need as a people to politics and revolutionize everything. You're right. Time is winding up, and we don't have that much time. You're right, Dr. Hope. We got to wind this thing up. What do we need? We need to stop all these tariffs that's causing all this money. We need to apologize, get rid of Trump if he doesn't want to apologize to our allies, because we can't face the world by ourselves. I don't know what delusion this man had. But we need a voice that's going to direct people. And I'm not being racist, but I believe it's a black woman, because it's always been a black woman. Black women was dementia. Yes, girl, delusional. He definitely suffered from delusions. Because how he could come up with some of that stuff. Thank you, Jazzy. Dementia. And look, dementia, people with dementia is pleasant sometimes. They're pleasant, but this dude here, and he be, Lord, I had to turn it off for a little while today and watch some movies, because you just look at it, Jezebel, and you say, how can one person be this ignorant? How did he get to where he is, and why is there anyone supporting some of that stuff that person is saying? But I think we can stand up like we did the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Ella Baker, who was the strength behind Martin Luther King, Ella Baker, some other black women, who was the strength behind W.E.B. Du Bois. That's why he fought so hard for women to get in that movement, but they would take all of our advice from the back, but wouldn't let us be in the movement until much later, until after women's suffrage. Then after women's suffrage, who won women's suffrage? Black women. And then after we was the strength of women's suffrage, what did they do? They threw us out. Just like now. They want us for what we bring. But we have to begin to Ida B. Wells. That's right. Yes. And when we get there, like Ida B. Wells and Harriet Tubman, we got to hold on to what we do, because once we give it away, the real meaning and the foundation is gone, and that's where we at. And why I say black women? Because we have nurtured everybody on earth. Those people beat us, raped our children, and we still loved them, fed them, took care of them, made them well when they were sick with our medicine, nursed their children, raised their children, and in the midst of leaving our children at home till we come at night, and we loved and took care of our children, and we had to make quality time. I think that's where quality time comes from, because we had loved and nourished their children and encouraged them. All the things that we went through and all the pain that we suffered gave us such strength. How many times I have to tell my friend, my co-workers, we're not going to cry about that. We're not going to even be hurt about that. We're not going to receive that, and encourage them. I have people that I worked with years ago that call me and say, how I'm going to do that? When a girl married, the, the, um, the white guy at work, and he tried, her dad was in some country, he was over some country, and they were doing some things that the son-in-law, who had nothing to do with it. I said, well, Miss B, I'm gonna call her Miss B. Miss B, did your daddy pay you your money back? Your daddy, your husband said your daddy used your money. So you went and yeah, but now he wants to ruin my dad. I said, your dad is gonna go to jail. The whole country gonna topple over. You gotta tell your husband, mind his business. We have our money, we have our 2 kids, we have everything we need for them, and you just have to be the man over here. Her eyes got this big, but she wouldn't do it. And I worked with an Indian doctor, and we had a leader, the doctor that was over the division. He was passing. He was black, but he was passing. Okay, so he used to always make her cry every time she would come to me, saying, "But Dr. B did this to me, and Dr. B." I said, "You tell him you have a husband too. And if he come to you like that, you're gonna have to go to your husband and you tell him." And she got in a meeting one day. We were all in the meeting, the whole group of us, everybody in the division. And he said, "Well, Dr. T, you have to," and talking really down to her. And then Dr. T turned around and said, "Ben, da da da," and she wiped her head back and she said, "Ben, da 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 da." And guess what? It was never the same. He said, "That don't sound like you," and he looked at me, but it was never the same. And I'm saying everything I'm saying to say, they don't always come right at us. I'm gonna tell one more story. I had a patient's parent I had become very close to. And I would help her with her very sick children when I got off in the evening, especially if they were in the hospital. But we were friends. We had become friends. We would go out to eat together, when the kids were well, and bring each other, like we were, I thought, friends. So then she was getting married. She was getting married, and she said, "Oh, the wedding's going to be at my sister's house. You have to come to the wedding." I never came to anything she gave. I said, you feel a certain way about me, but it don't mean your family's going to feel that way. And I don't know how I would react if I was disrespected or treated badly coming to all the stuff she would give. But when she got married, I thought, and I said to her, well, the wedding is different. I'm going to come. I'm going to come to the wedding because this is such a big deal. And I'm so happy for you, Miss E. So I drove all the way to Fayetteville for the wedding. And when I walked in the wedding, I want you to know she didn't even speak. And when she did, she turned around and said, "Well, you can go see the boys. They're outside." Didn't offer me anything to drink, didn't say thank you for coming, didn't take the gift out of my hand. So I literally walked through the house and walked back. About 40 days later, she called me and said, "I'm sorry. I I wasn't such a good friend to you. And I said to her, you are who you are, and it's okay. And I wasn't her friend anymore after that. But we have been through these things, y'all. And I'm saying that to every sister that's listening today. But I believe that we are the only ones with capability to be good to everybody. We're the only ones. Sometimes I look at, we're the only ones. We're going to, in spite of anything we've been through, it's not going to stop us from being good to anybody. If anybody feels differently, say it. Because I think that this is a very important conversation. We have some people here with voice. I'm looking at some voice here. We have people here with voice, and we have to lift our voices to the nation. We just little people sitting in our houses talking. Well, guess what? When God is our microphone, we'll reach the nations. When we sit down together and meet together and pray, God will not only magnify what we say will be healing for the nations. And I believe that because I'm looking out, even as politics is going now, Jasmine Crockett, she was a fireball. Even after she was coached to calm down to run for higher office. And I do believe that God have a place for her. And I do believe that you don't have to be in that office to have a voice because she has not shut up yet. I see another lady that comes up, Mo Ivory Martin. That's just the guy that going on. And she not playing. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for strong voices. Right here, we have the Doctor of Hope. Bringing hope is better than doing CPR. Because sometimes people be walking around dead because they're hopeless. And they have no reason to live. It has never failed talking to somebody who has attempted or is trying to commit suicide. It was because they didn't have no hope. And I do believe if you're still online, you didn't just wake up one day, you're in the other Dr. Hope. You didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, I think I'm going to be hope. I think I'm going to go bring hope. Because everything good, that's life. I got a mouth that don't shut up. People say, you just don't know what to say. I say, I need to say everything. That's what needs to happen. It needs to be said. It needs to be said, and I'm going to say it. Everybody on this line, Jezebel, I don't know you. I can't see the picture. I know Dia, I don't know if she's still on, but when she sings, that voice brings peace and unity. I had a big conference one time, and she stood on that stage, and she just, the whole place. We had like 4 speakers, and nobody got the attention her voice did, because her voice is, I believe, anointed. And sometimes when I'm around her, I just say, sing something. And we all have it in us. And we as Black women have it like nobody ever had it before. Think of it. A wooden case built in the ground like a coffin. And your punishment is put in there alive and locked in there in the darkness, buried under the ground for 24 to 48 hours. And then when they take you out, then pour water on you, and you got to try to let some go down your throat, and then put you in a jail cell. And then you come out and you nurse their children. Wow, yours is crying because they beat him, or they taking him away and selling them to somebody else. And I just look, now, we went through what we went through, but we can't let those days come back upon us. 4 or 5 young men, they said all we was doing was standing in the park. They arrest him and bring him to jail. I said, look, don't be out there. They get preached at every time they come sit in front of me. You don't, it's sad, and it shouldn't be like that, but don't be just hanging around. You can't just hang around. You know, we used to hang out till the lights came on. But I think that today was good. It was great. Look, I have a guy that's coming on tomorrow. Anybody want to say anything on our way out about we got to save our own world? We have to become, walk, move, live, preach, unite, empower in one voice. We have to direct the politicians with that voice on what we need them to do to bring our country back together. Because I want there to be in America in 4 years. Yes, he is, dear. God is good. To be there in 4 years to watch my grandbaby graduate medical school. Now we planning now. If things don't get right, but after today, it's all right, you know. Stash some money in your house, get some cash, make sure you have escape money. Don't spend it. We don't know when we're gonna have to leave. Do everybody have their passports? calling everybody on the phone. My sisters that, you know, all the time. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's good all the time. Do you have your passports ready? Do you have solar generators? I have a little one. Get you a solar generator. We don't know. You know, hopefully things turning around, but we don't know. Have your little solar generator. Have your candles. I ate all of my food that I had prepared for in case of emergency, in case of we have to get out or we don't have no power, if we're at war. We have been planning that for over a year. I didn't ate most of the food. So I got to go buy me some more food and put it up. In case we don't know which country we're going to yet, but we all getting our passports. I had my passport, but had to get one for my grandkids. Because we don't know, y'all. We don't know the day or the hour. But I believe, I have faith that if we lift our voices in truth and get it right and be fair to everyone while we're getting it right and hold on to our place, because if we the people who put it together, we got to be the people who see it through. Because people that's gonna come on the ship, come jump on the ship later and say, I'm gonna do it, they don't have the passion you have. They want to be a superstar. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. They're going to want to be a superstar. Look what I did. Look what we did under my leadership. Like, you started this. We don't care nothing about that. We just want it to be right for the future of our children. For the future of our children. Let's get it right. Well, I have a young man that's coming on tomorrow night. He's a Gen X, I think. You know, they think totally different from us. But it's time for the changing of the guard. They're going to be the people who lead. They're going to be the people who, you know, it's time. I'm in that age where I need to sit down. I need to be preparing some young women to go out from here. And that's what this revolution is all about. And they see things quite differently from us. But he can't come. His name is Anthony Williams. We call him Pope Williams. He can't come on a Wednesday night. So I had to say all that I said, though. I should have, maybe if I could have made it shorter, but I couldn't. So we just going to have all of this Vivacious Speaks. We're going to have Vivacious Speaks tomorrow night, and then maybe I'll play it again for next Wednesday. But please, please, please be listening for the voice of power, for the voice of change in our politicians. And all of these local politics, we need to be listening. This who get us clean water. This who made the governors, he didn't want us, he said, no, we can't do away with the sales tax on gas for right now. We need this money. The state gonna lose too much money. But Congress, the state voted, all our councilmen and congressmen, they voted on the state level. You know, everybody, they're still in the Capitol. I haven't been there this year. That's not good. But I've been watching it. They said no, so it's probably going to take 2 days because it was in the House and I have to go to the Senate. So it's probably going to take about 2 days, but we'll have 30, 40 cents a gallon taken off our gas for a little while. And those of us who use premium, I know we're very happy about that. So that's why it's very good. We need to be watching. We need to be watching for some heavy voices, some people who's doing something for real and not afraid to open their mouth. Not afraid when they see something, say something, do something, if do something is possible. But definitely say something to somebody that will make a difference. So we'll have Pook Williams talking about the world we leave in them and how they're gonna lead us through. Because all of my ideas is um, my ideas, but I told him, please don't put me in a nursing home where I have to be in a room with 3 people. No, I'm just making a joke. But it was good having y'all tonight. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Jazzy Bell. Thank you, Dr. Hope. Thank you, Dia. And thank you for all those who never say anything. Even though you don't say anything, please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Press like and make a comment on something. Thank y'all so very much. See you tomorrow.